The training field was buzzing with energy that morning. The new recruits had gathered around the combat demonstration area, eager to impress their instructors and show off their strength. Among them stood Sergeant Daniel Cole, young, confident, and decorated for his performance in several military drills. His uniform was crisp, his stance proud, and his eyes carried the kind of confidence that borders on arrogance. He believed he had seen it all and could take down anyone who dared to challenge him. But that morning, fate decided to teach him a lesson he'd never forget. An old man walked slowly toward the center of the field. His hair was silver, his uniform slightly faded, and his posture stiff but dignified. The wrinkles on his face spoke of years spent under the sun, years of experience and hardship that no badge could summarize. The recruits looked at him curiously, some even smirking. To them, he seemed like someone who had long passed his prime, a relic of the past, dragged into the present for nostalgia. Colonel Davis, the head of the training division, introduced him calmly. "Men, this is Master Sergeant Arthur Hale, retired, but once one of the best hand-to-hand combat instructors this base ever had." The recruits exchanged amused glances. Some whispered among themselves, struggling not to laugh. Sergeant Cole crossed his arms, barely containing a smirk. "With all due respect, sir," he said confidently, "I think the world has moved on from the old tricks." Colonel Davis's eyes narrowed slightly, but he only said, "Perhaps. But how about you give the Master Sergeant a chance to show you a few of those old tricks?" Laughter rippled through the group. Cole grinned and stepped forward. "With pleasure, sir." The demonstration was meant to be a friendly exchange, a simple display of defensive moves. But as soon as the old man extended his hand, Cole made his move. With one swift motion, he grabbed the old man's wrist, turned, and used his full strength to throw him over his shoulder. The crowd gasped. The old man hit the ground with a heavy thud, dust rising around him. Cole smirked, raising his arms triumphantly. "Guess the old days are really over," he said, looking around for approval. But before anyone could respond, something unexpected happened. The old man was already on his feet. His eyes were sharp, his expression unreadable. "You've got strength, son," he said in a calm, steady voice. "But strength without control is just chaos." Cole barely had time to blink. In a blur of motion, the old man stepped forward, redirected Cole's own momentum, and before anyone could process what had happened, the young sergeant was flat on his back, the air knocked out of his lungs. 2 seconds. That's all it took. The recruits stood frozen. The only sound was the wind cutting across the field. The old man extended a hand to help Cole up. For the first time that day, Cole looked humbled. He accepted the hand, his pride stinging but his respect growing. The old man dusted off his uniform and said quietly, "It's not about who hits first, son. It's about who understands balance, of body, mind, and heart." The demonstration continued, but now the atmosphere was different. Every recruit watched closely, realizing there was more to combat than muscle and youth. Arthur Hale moved with fluid precision, every motion economical, every strike purposeful. He wasn't just fighting, he was teaching a philosophy, a way of being. As the session ended, Colonel Davis spoke to the men. "You see, strength fades, but skill and wisdom don't. Remember, arrogance can blind you faster than an enemy ever could." That evening, Sergeant Cole stayed behind on the training ground. He practiced silently, replaying the moment in his head, how quickly he had fallen, how easily the old man had turned his power against him. He wasn't angry anymore, he was inspired. Later, he found Arthur Hale sitting alone by the barracks, cleaning his boots. Cole walked up slowly, his tone humble. "Sir," he said, "I owe you an apology. I underestimated you." Arthur looked up, a faint smile touching his weathered face. "You don't owe me an apology, son. You just needed a reminder that pride is a soldier's heaviest weapon, and his easiest weakness." Cole sat beside him. "Will you teach me? I want to learn what you know." For a moment, the old man studied him, really studied him. Then he nodded. "Meet me here tomorrow at dawn. But if you come, leave your pride behind." From that day forward, the training yard saw a different Sergeant Cole. He moved with respect, listened more, spoke less. Under Arthur's guidance, he learned not just how to fight, but how to think, how to breathe, how to stay calm even when everything around him burned with chaos. Weeks passed, and soon Cole wasn't just known for his strength, he was known for his composure, his discipline, and his leadership. When younger recruits mocked others, he stopped them. When they got reckless, he reminded them of balance. the same way the old man had taught him. Then one morning, Cole came to the training ground and found it empty, except for Colonel Davis standing by the fence. "Where's Master Sergeant Hale?" Cole asked. Davis sighed softly. "He left, son. Said his work here was done. He wanted me to give you this." He handed Cole a small, worn-out patch, an old insignia with the words, "Balance before power." Cole held it for a long moment, feeling a lump rise in his throat. Years later, when Cole became an instructor himself, he carried that patch inside his pocket every single day. Whenever a young soldier got too full of himself, Cole would share the story of the old man who taught him that true strength lies not in muscle, but in humility. He ended every session with the same words Arthur Hale once told him. Respect your opponent, respect your elders, and most of all, respect the fight within yourself. The recruits would listen in silence, often unsure if the story was true. But Sergeant Cole knew better. Because he could still remember the moment he hit the ground, the day a proud young sergeant learned that wisdom, not strength, wins every battle. And from that moment on, he never underestimated anyone again.